dedicated to men and women desire to elevate the character. Because today, more than ever, character matters. My leadership coaching practice advocates for truth, honesty, wisdom, and the development of one's character. No apologies needed. These videos illustrate the portrayal of women as some of Nollywood's favorites, Soso and her impressive cast, and provide valuable tips.
Absolutely. And thank you very much for joining us in our second episode of Soso Walking in Wisdom. And this video indeed was inspired by the great work of the great, phenomenal, indisputable Sonia Uche television actress, entrepreneur, producer, writer, and in finding her very first movie and watching how she drew her audience in every character that she played, and then viewing what's going on the social media in the landscape of Nollywood, it was important to not jump into the necessary quote unquote gist, while I understand how many are interested in the personal lives of actresses and actors globally, whether it's Bollywood, Hollywood, or Nollywood, it's important that, and she certainly continues to exemplify what it means to have good character. And because we're all interconnected globally, it is so key, it is essential, it is so important that I overscore and underscore the importance of building good character. And it starts locally to wherever you reside, whether it's East or West, whether it's the Americas, Africa, or Asia, the continent, the Caribbean. You must look at the man and woman in the mirror and begin to do the work. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome back to our second episode. If you have not subscribed to this platform, I encourage you to please do so, so you can be sure to get all of the latest coaching tips that I bring forth as a gift to the global community and Nollywood lovers as a whole, regardless of where you are. If you have not subscribed to Sonia Uche Television, please be sure to do so. Support this phenomenal sister and woman indeed. In today's episode, we're going to dissect a little bit when we speak about character, the movie Hard Place. This was her latest movie based on her channel, not in terms of the role she played. Her channel, she was the executive producer and producer for A Hard Place. And though she had um, uh, a lesser percentage of time in this role, it was equally important when it comes to telling the story. And in this great masterpiece, other actors include Michael Dapper, very handsome Michael Dapper, and Chisum, her BFF herself. The place I would like to zero in on when we consider the movie Hard Place as we come to relate to character is this particular timely piece. So let's see if I could increase my screen. And I want you to pay attention to this particular piece focusing on good or bad character. Let's listen. I'm just and I'm home. Charles, Charles, what did you get? Yes, Charles. Okay. He didn't want to see Tom. So please calm down and hear me out. Seriously, how everything turned out. It is true that I decided to be
Everything was time. I persisted to come to terms with sickness, deceit. I also asked for a transfer, so I helped my husband. I also to him properly. And I do appreciate our time here together. And I do wish for the funeral. Yeah. I'm really sorry for saying that true. You find yourself a good you're welcome. So, what's your thoughts? Thank you.
And here we go, family. This was absolutely a phenomenal scene. Whether I consider this a scene stealer, maybe the best scene of the movie, in terms of learning, in terms of my coaching practice, yes, I would say so. So here you have three characters played by Brian Okoye, Chisom, and of course the phenomenal Sonia Uche. And in this particular piece, she came unexpectedly to Brian's character to let him know that she is going to leave peacefully, gracefully, apologize. It was heartfelt. Um, and she was remorseful for any of her actions that he hated, even though he repeatedly, based on this movie, told her that it's not going to happen. Um, I want you to look at this movie if you have not looked at it. So I'm not going to give you the other details and so few surprises, but it's about examining the heart of the woman, the grace. She wasn't there belligerent. She was calm, collected. She knew what she wanted to say and do. She already made peace with it, the fact that she was relocating to another area. And she also apologized not only to Brian Okoyo's character, but Maya, played by Chisholm. And in this movie, Hard Place, it's important to know the premise of unrequited devotion and love. And it's not the whole core of the story, but it's certainly a critical one within the first quarter of indeed the story. In terms of the protagonist who invested time, the role played by Sunya Uche. The other protagonist was the role of Brian Okuyo, who he loved, a different character. And in this particular movie, at this point in time, the character disappeared. And at this point in time, I would say he was still very much in love with the character, but had to make peace with the fact that this person may not be returning. Whether she returned or not, that's for you to look. Again, I do not want to spoil it for you. In the event you're going to look at the movie, and I certainly recommend that you do, another masterpiece by Sonia Uchi herself. So, what is the illusion of hope that she had by doing all of these things? And part of it she could have misinterpreted, or he might have gave her hope. Either which way, we're looking at two adults who came together for a purpose, and everything has a time and season. But the good character component here, because when you love hard. When women love, they love hard. So loving hard and loving a man is not bad character. The bad character is when the love is unrequited, when it's not returned or it quickly pivots. You, as a woman, daughter of grace, can walk away gracefully. Do not make a scene, do not act up, and be sure to really leave the relationship with some level of dignity. So there was some level of emotional exhaustion by the characters. For one woman, it could be the loss of self-identity. There's a level of isolation potentially. So the woman, in this case, Bella's character initially may not want to give up, so she tried and tried and tried again. And when she tried, he would give in, right? So as a result of that, she thought that meant hope. But from a man's perspective, that doesn't mean hope. It just means right now. So you need to be mindful when you look at relationships, and it's about also just building relationships. You want to have a relational currency, whether professionally or personally, and whether it's romance. Sometimes things work out and it's there for a season, and sometimes it's for a lifetime. And we have to be, as men and women of faith, we have to be ready for that answer, whether you're doing a walking away or someone else, right? At some point in our lives, we would be the recipient of either end. And we have to be able to do so in grace, dignity, because of your character. And that part of the character and the dignified exit you see is part of internal strength and self-respect and your realization of self-worth and value. That has to be the bottom line. And if you're able to demonstrate self-value and self-worth, another person coming or that person will begin to respect you and value you even more. And part of that may mean setting boundaries and letting your yay be a yay and your nay be a nay, allow some clarity and calmness, and then move ahead, focusing on your future. In this case, Bella relocated. She knew that she cannot be in the same city, seeing this person, same organization, seeing this person daily and heal. She needed to step away. She needed some distance. And again, she was honest about it. She was honest about her love for this person. She was honest about she indeed crossed boundaries. And here on display is again integrity, honesty. This is all part of having good character. Now, if we speak about the other young lady, Maya, she was not aware of it, so she was not part of what I would consider the threesome. He was a person that was aware of Bella's love for him as well as his good friend, but Maya by no means was aware of it to the extent. And she too was gracious and she accepted the apology. Family, this is what good character looks like. So it's important that, yes, indeed, we do our due diligence. And in our relationships, it's important that we consider verbal cues when someone says no and nonverbal cues. If they're not posting your picture, if they're not telling your family members that, yes, this person is my fiance, my woman, my girlfriend, if this person is not saying to the world, she belongs to me or he belongs to me, this is a sure indication, nonverbal cues, that this person is not thinking the same light as you are. And then you have to consider, of course, the power of silence. The most dignified exit is marked by a quiet departure. That's what you're seeing here, rather than a dramatic confrontation, emphasizing that indeed this character Bella had inner peace, inner strength, spiritual fortitude, moral fortitude to full exit, turn the next page, the character and journey. Let's see how she exits.
Is there a word that I can say? A part to play?
And of course, I love the song, one of my favorites as well. So this is again a good example of a hard place where character is at question. And what we've noted in one of the portrayals done by Sunya Uche, even though she's not the main protagonist of this movie, and she spent like quarter of her time within this movie, the illustration of character is key, and it has illuminated the screen. And if you're paying attention, and if you're not just solely watching a movie, but you're paying attention to the lesson and the moral behind the movie, ultimately, this part of the movie ended with grace, ended with dignified exit, ended with non-dramatics, and leaving the dramedy for elsewhere. If you're a woman of grace, if you're a daughter of grace, if you're a woman or man of faith walk. And the last thing I would say before we conclude this episode considering character is understanding that you do not ever want to be with anyone that doesn't desire to be with you. You do not ever want to work with anyone who doesn't desire to work with you. You do not ever want to be a friend with anyone who doesn't want to be friends with you and treat you with the value and respect and the dignity that you deserve. Wow, woman of wisdom indeed. This is the conclusion for this episode titled Hard Place, a review of what character looks like as we consider Soso walking in wisdom. And I would like to offer you scripture. Proverbs 2:2 is important that we incline our ear to wisdom. And part of honing wisdom and building that character is by also watching, working, asking, and listening to other women of wisdom, the elders, people who have done it and done it with grace. Until the next time, thank you so much for listening to this video and making me part of the Nollywood global family. And as always, shalom.